Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast that disapproves of what you say, but will defend to the death your right to carry up to 5 grams of cocaine.
Who was it that said that? It was like Voltaire or something, except for the Coke part.
It was Madeleine Albright.
Oh.
Yeah. She loved Coke.
Yeah, she's dead, right?
Because of cocaine.
You heard it here first, folks.
This is your source of breaking news.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And we're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality.
And today we're going to talk about Pride.
We're going to talk about Pride.
Yeah.
But first, we're videotaping, which I don't know about you, but it's making me a little self-conscious.
Me too. Because I never worry about all this shit that I do.
Like the drinking of the wine.
But now everyone can see it, which I don't know. But if you're friends with me, then you've seen me drink plenty of wine, so it's nothing new.
I have lots of shame because I'm drinking a Chelada. It's a Chelada Especial.
Rightfully. Oh, no. I was going to make fun of you, but no. This is the episode about Pride, Mike. Be proud of your enchilada Modelo.
I am proud of my terrible beer choices.
You know, I just buy the shittiest rosé that I can find, so gotta embrace it.
I have a potential correction for you. I'm not sure if it is or not.
Okay.
Last time when we were on the X-Rated podcast, and then we had those guys on, there was a website that you referenced. Do you remember what website I'm talking about?
Nope.
Homo Razzie. So when I see that word, I read it homorazzi, like paparazzi. But I don't know which of us is correct, but it's potentially me.
It's definitely you.
Okay.
Like that makes way more sense than the things that I said.
Homorazzi.
I don't. It's like when you read a word and you just think it in your head, and that's how it's pronounced, and then it's not.
Yeah, totally.
I pronounced your name Mike for forever.
Yeah. Did you know Mike's like a name for a Japanese cat? Like we say Rex or Fido for dogs. Mike is like that's a cat's name.
In Spain, a rooster goes rikikikiki. Animals make different noises in different languages.
That's true.
Because like cows don't actually say moo. It's just like the words we assign to it.
I think people make different noises in different languages.
So this Pride, we're going to fuck one of every nationality.
That's right.
That'll be the next episode will be the different sounds of various nationalities.
Taste the rainbow. This episode is sponsored by Skittles.
And penises.
But not. Yes.
Something I want to talk about.
Yeah.
One of our friends, Marcy, asked us the most adorable thing a few weeks ago. We haven't mentioned it. Do you remember this?
At this very table.
No. In her place. We were in her place, and she looked at us, and she said, okay, I have this question. And I could tell she was like a little bit uneasy about asking, which is weird because we know her really well. She knows us really well. We talk about anything under the sun already.
I'm super unapproachable.
It's true. And she said, last night when I was hanging out with you and your gay friends, you know, one person referred to another person as her and she. And she was like, am I supposed to do that? And it was the sweetest thing because you could tell she was really thinking about what the right thing to do is. And especially with trans issues, you know, being really in the media and forefront right now, the fact that she cared enough to think, oh, they use that gender pronoun. What should I do? And then what we explained is when you're around a bunch of gay men, sometimes people get referred to as she or her. And that's very different than a trans person that identifies as female. Like no one I know, at least in that friend group, identifies as female,
right? But
may call each other she.
Right. Yeah.
Which there are some trans people that are deep down female. Yeah. That is their gender and should be only referred to as she or her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, chill out of burps. the slightly less pronoun heavy way is like a lot of gays go, girl.
Yeah.
Which nobody is a girl. Like that's all gay dudes, right?
Or like when people call me a queen.
Yes.
Actually, that's a lie. No one calls me a queen.
Yes, queen.
God, that phrase, I just have, like, I feel so weird about it. I feel like it's insulting to the monarchy.
Although, you are the douche king.
That's true. So Sharaya mentioned on the D&D episode that we were having our douche shot competition.
Yep.
I won. Fuck you, bitches. I'm the douche. Well, I don't know if I should be bragging about that, but I'm the douche king.
Yeah, you were just full of pretentiousness.
I was just
that whole
douching it up. Also, I got a lot of douche shots.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Little did you know.
Little did I know.
When you don't have toilet paper when you're camping, you got to do something to take care of the business.
I don't think douching is the answer to
douching
that,
in the woods.
Yeah, right.
It's a really specific subsect of the gay community.
Into the woods.
It's a weird word to sing, I'm not going to lie.
I love them.
Now we're going to do our reenactment of Tina Fey and Amy Poehler's Golden Globe speech. But I just thought that was the perfect, like, Marcy trusted us to ask us that question, and we as gay people, as people that have the answer, should be receptive of those questions. It goes back to something we've said, is, assume a positive intent first. There are plenty of people, of crazy gays, that would get offended, or, you can't even ask a question.
Yep. And
we should be welcoming of questions of all kind, especially when, like Marcy, they were coming from good intent and help me figure out what to do here.
Yeah.
So thanks, Marcy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually, it's sort of humbling and awesome that maybe because of the podcast, I don't know, we were a source of information for her. Like, we bridged a gap between sexuality and actuality.
Oh
Isn't
my
that
God.
fantastic?
It's real. It's real, Mike.
It's real. I'm a real boy.
We're a real podcast. Do you want to talk about Pride?
Yeah, let's talk about Pride. So, I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it makes great radio.
Perfect.
Do you know where Pride started or how Pride started?
Oh my God, Mike, it's really interesting that you asked. I know a lot about where it started. Shall I tell you?
Please.
That sounded really natural. Our transitions are getting better, aren't they, everyone?
I hear applause. Our teeming millions of listeners just applauded.
So I want to talk about the Stonewall riots, which I feel like which I didn't know that much about the Stonewall riots before this, but I could at least identify, okay, Gay Pride is a celebration of, the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, where police raided the Stonewall and we got all mad and we were like, nah, Queen. And then, I don't know, now we have Pride. Like, that's really the extent I knew about it. So I'm not going to go into, like, the full details because I think there are better things out there than I could do. But just some things that stood out when I was doing some research is just, first of all, just the climate in the U.S. around that time. I didn't realize McCarthyism included homosexuals, like, as people that were at risk to America.
Is that like pinko commie? Is that like you're a gay commie?
I think so. Like, so in one of the Senate investigations, one of the reports said that sex perverts in the government constitute security risks. So yeah, that's like, I don't know, it's like a pink scare.
Yeah. Which I'm still scared of pink, but that's a different thing.
You don't wear pink?
I don't. I mean, I have a couple of pink things, but they're for special occasions. I don't, as a rule, wear pink.
Pink might not be your color.
Yeah, I'm a total autumn.
Do either of us know what that means?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, you got gayer on me since I've known you.
Yeah.
Whoa. Up, but okay. And then I didn't realize this either. FBI and police departments kept list of known homosexuals. Like, what?
How did they know? Are they the ones like?
I got this ridiculous facial last night from John.
Write him down.
Put him on the list. Here's a sample that you can keep.
I was on aisle 4 of the grocery store, and this queer came and just blew me right there. We need to like keep an eye on that one.
Also, he had a cucumber in his basket. No dude buys a cucumber without sitting on it.
Right. I sometimes don't even make it home first. Like,
or just shoving it right up your ass. Yeah, that's how you carry in the groceries, up your ass.
Yeah, you know.
That's a little known fact about gay people.
Yeah.
That's how we get our groceries in.
And then sometimes you feel bad because you forgot what was up your ass, and you walk out of the store and you shoplifted, but like you didn't mean to.
What's really embarrassing is later that night when someone fucks you and like a carrot falls out and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. One of my nicknames is Salad Shooter.
You've been known to squat over and people just open up and you're just like a super salad out of your butthole.
They bring the dressing.
This took a weird turn. Okay. And also, last thing about just the climate of the U.S. in 1952, homosexuality was listed as a mental disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the setting that Stonewall found itself in. So, gay bars at that time were a place that gay people go, like we talked about, in safe spaces and kind of be protected. But I didn't realize how like strict it was. There were codes to get in, and you had to write down your name. And I wrote, it was like getting into a Chris Pine orgy. Like you're not just strolling in there. Someone has to know you and know you're cool. And Stonewall specifically was a place that was for poor and marginalized people. It was where homeless youths went. Youths? That's not a homeless youth went.
Youths.
Can you tell I'm over 30? It was a place where prostitutes went, where drag queens went, where effeminate men went, where butch lesbians went. So it was this place for marginalized people because it was owned by the mafia. So it could operate without actual licenses, and the mafia just paid off the police officers. So the police raid happened on Saturday, June 28th at 1:20 a.m. And
in the summer of 69.
Oh, I didn't even write down the year. You're so right.
69. Yeah. I mean, we've been, innuendo and outuendo for since the very beginning.
Just go for it. I like little known sex act 66.
Oh,
yeah. Feels a lot better.
I'd like to fall asleep in a 66.
I lost what we're talking about. I didn't get my own innuendo. Okay.
Found it.
So this is something that is crazy to me. Standard procedure was that when police raided gay bars, they would check everyone's ID, and if you were wearing women's clothing, a female police officer took you to the women's restroom and checked to see if you were a woman.
Oh, okay.
And if you were actually a male dressed in female clothing, you were arrested.
Yeah.
Which that's gross.
I kind of think it's amazing that there would be like some drag queen that was packing some serious heat, and this poor female cop was like, whoa.
No, I don't know. That's ridiculous that there was that they were allowed to do that. So because of the climate that I was talking about and the types of people that like Stonewall was their home, they were homeless, they were kicked out of their houses, they didn't fit in anywhere else.
Yeah.
Stonewall was just, there were plenty of other police raids, but Stonewall was just, people were fed up. They weren't taking it.
They were taking it.
Well, they were fed up with not being able to take it, so they wouldn't take it anymore. They couldn't take not taking it.
Right.
So some of the accounts talk about like one drag queen that like would not get in the back of the car. She got out of the police car and ran off, or she like freed herself from police, and those like 10 times they tried to get her in the back of the car. And I just love this feisty drag queen that's like, you ain't getting me in that car. Fuck you. I wrote, out of that came the gayest outbreak of violence ever, which, because all the accounts of it were like, it said they were just gay chants and limp wrists, and the police would like start marching towards them and they would form kick lines.
Oh, fantastic.
It was just the gayest outburst.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it was. And this was the first time. The reason this is important, and this is kind of a defining moment in the gay rights movement, is because gay people were supposed to be so underground. This was the first public display like this, the first time gay people got raided and said, no, we're not taking this anymore. We are fighting back. And from there, there came a lot of LGBT organizations and, Pride as we know it today. But before we talk about Pride today, so there are some actually disagreements within the gay community about the Stonewall riots themselves that I wanted to mention.
Okay, sure. Like whether it was a trans person that was the ignition.
Oh, like why the police raided?
Yeah.
Well, there are lots of theories now, because I don't think like us bullshitting isn't gonna. There are a bunch of theories about like the mafia didn't pay off the police like they usually did, or they actually got a tip but didn't believe it because it was so late at night, or one of the police officers had a lover that scorned them. Like there are all these theories about how it started, and I don't know the right answer.
When was the last time you got a tip late at night?
It depends on what 4 a.m. counts as. Is that late at night or early in the morning?
Yeah.
If so.
Well, I was going to say potato padildo, but that's not my joke.
Whose joke is that?
Robbie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, so that wasn't although, like, another theory that I saw is that Judy Garland died a week earlier, and her funeral was the same day as the riots, but historians said that, like, that theory that Judy Garland's death outraged the gay people was not true.
I mean, it seems at first to be maybe a ridiculous claim to make, but I know for sure that when Liza Minnelli dies, the gays are going to kill somebody. Like, I can...
They're going to kill Bette Midler just so it's even?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, so what this historian said about that is that it was a couple years after the Stonewall riots that anyone had made that comparison. And when they first made that comparison, that it was because of Judy Garland's death, they did it in a derogatory way, like, oh, the gays were all, up in arms because of old Judy Garland. So, so it was actually used to, belittle the gay people.
Isn't Friend of Dorothy, isn't that code for gay people?
Yeah.
Is that from Wizard of Oz?
Oh, God.
Wizard of Oz. Dorothy was played by Judy Garland. Like
yeah, I forget.
The Illuminati were involved
I actually
in this.
think I researched this once when I was a little baby gay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not actually that. There was someone else named Dorothy that everyone was friends with.
So it's very descriptive.
And that's the end of my explanation of that. So you're welcome, America. Now you know.
Rainbow.
I don't think it's because of Dorothy, but I think it's.
Do you want to start that rumor?
Well, no, that rumor already exists. We need to start a new rumor.
Okay, that Friends of Dorothy. It's actually Bea Arthur's character from Golden Girls, and it's because she looked like a man
and talked like one. Yeah. She had that voice. Yes, that's
you heard it here, folks.
We're just beginning all these new rumors that are the truth.
Yeah.
No
journalistic integrity of Gayish. We talked about this.
It's right up there. Some of the gay rights organizations at the time that existed before Stonewall, specifically the Mattachine Society. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Mattachine.
Mattachine.
If you're
Mattachine.
Yeah, that society. They had been working to try to show that gay people were just like straight people. Mm-hmm. So the idea of the limp wrists and the gay kick lines that were the protest, they were upset about that. A gay rights group was upset about that because that went against everything that they had tried to fight for.
This is foreshadowing, Kyle.
What?
There are lots of gays that have issues with pride now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of similar.
So I actually think I could identify now, having the historical, the ability to look back. I know that Stonewall was a good thing, but I could see myself in that time being like, so a bunch of gay people, resisted arrest, beat up police officers, we're super gay. Like, I could see myself, I could identify with this. Of course, I know now that gay people had just been so oppressed and pushed down and had no rights. And it's like, at some point, what can you do but fight back? So,
yeah.
But it's, I have this conflict of, I don't believe the ends justify the means. Like, but what else do you do? Like, do you just chill out and just be oppressed and taken advantage of and beat down? Like, at some point you do have to fight back and make these big, outbursts like Stonewall. So it's kind of making me challenging my belief in, maybe the ends do justify the means.
There's that idea that true progress never comes from patience. And I think patience is one of the things that people try to say. Be patient. Just slow down. Your time will come.
Patience is a virtue.
Patience is a virtue. The society's not ready yet. Don't push it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like, somebody has to be on the forefront. Somebody has to be kicking ass.
Yeah.
Might as well be you.
Yeah. To make it way less significant, like in my personal life, when I first came out to my parents, it was really hard. They had our time with it. And so I didn't talk about it for years and years. And finally, when I got a boyfriend, that was the first time where I felt like, oh, now I can bring this up again because it's affecting my day-to-day life again.
Sure, yeah.
In at least a way that they would understand. Yeah. And when I did, they were so down. Like, they, it's still a little off to them, but they were way more accepting than I expected. So, yeah, you do have to push things a little bit more than feels comfortable to get where you want to go.
Yep, absolutely.
Other people, another kind of source of contention was some people just didn't like Stonewall anyway because it was a seedy place. If you imagine today, if you think of a place with, prostitutes and homeless people, you don't think, this is, a haven. You think this is seedy, rundown, needs to go. Like, the assumption about what that means. So, even though now we understand the importance of Stonewall, I could also see in that time, being a privileged gay person and not understanding what that means. And still today, like, homelessness for youth people is for young LGBT. What?
Youth people.
I'm knocking them out of the park with my words.
Yeah.
And statements.
Yeah.
And facts.
Yep. Use your mouth.
It's tired. But I lost my train of thought because I thought about a dick.
Stonewall, CD.
CD. CD in so many ways. I could see, I just understand how especially privileged gay people couldn't understand what that means. And I know that I personally can't understand what it means to be a homeless gay person today.
Yeah. Have you been to Stonewall?
I have not.
It's pretty cool.
Have you?
Yeah, Trevor and I went. We went on a trip to New York, not this April, but last April. and or maybe the April before. It was April. I don't know why I know that, but we stopped in there and had a drink, and it's just a tiny little place. I guess it's smaller than it used to be because of renovations and numbers and stuff, but it's, Stonewall is so much a part of at least the conversation. Like, hang out with gay people long enough, they're going to talk about Stonewall, even now. So it was kind of cool. It felt like a trip to Mecca or something.
Yeah. It was. I went to Amsterdam, and there was I think it's called the Homo Monument, and it is like in the ground these pink triangles that connect with the bigger pink triangle, and it's to commemorate, all the atrocities and struggles that gay people have gone through. And that was really, I had no idea it was going to be there. I didn't seek it out. I kind of stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
But that was really meaningful because I don't feel like we have these kind of memorials or places of remembrance that speak to gay people in that way. And so to see that a city had put it, it was in the ground. It was like along with the tile in the ground, so it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
So that was just really meaningful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Plus, it was Amsterdam, so there's just like sex and weed everywhere.
Yeah, I got high and fucked everything. No, that's not true. Actually,
you do that all the time. It has nothing to do with your trip. Great.
Don't. I thought I've come off as like a saint in this podcast so far, so I don't want to ruin my image.
Yeah. Everyone wants to introduce their sons to you.
Yeah. And then they get to know me.
Yeah.
And they're like, Johnny's got to go.
Yeah.
So that's Stonewall.
That's Stonewall.
There's if you want to learn more, so, I don't think I could do it justice telling like the full story. So that was the abridged. So, something that I watched a portion of is, the documentary Remembering Stonewall. They showed a clip on the website Democracy Now!, which I'll post, and it had firsthand accounts of Stonewall, which is really interesting, and really sad. And just hearing people talk about like, I was beaten on a daily basis, but that's just what life was like, and that was just what you had to deal with. He didn't even seem upset about it. It was just that's how you live. So I'd recommend that if you want to learn more about Stonewall.
And I know for both of us, actually, that's so foreign to our experience that it's like, I know that I'm not grateful enough because I can't even fathom what it was like. Like I feel grateful because I'm sort of peripherally aware, but I'm sure that if I knew more, if I was a better gay and read more of my history, that I would be even more thankful.
Yeah. Or like, I don't want to be, but like, if you're beat up once, then you understand what that could be like. And I've never been. So, but I hope that what we get to experience today is what people then fought for. So, hopefully that is we should learn more about it. I agree, and appreciate what we have, and also realize that this is the lives that they wanted us to be able to have.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So Stonewall happened. Then the gays were still pissed off even after that all ended, and they got really they got organized. And then on the anniversary of Stonewall, that was the first Pride parade, right?
Right.
Do you know where the first one was?
It was in New York.
No.
Oh, wait. A week before that, there was one in Chicago.
A day before.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yeah.
Am I ruining your...
No.
Setup?
That's one of the things that I remembered reading, because it was a Saturday that the Stonewall thing happened. The next year, the 28th was a Sunday, but Chicago was like, fuck Sunday, we want to do it on Saturday. Like, I want to be hungover tomorrow. So they celebrated the anniversary a day early, kept it on Saturday, and they had the first one. And then The other thing is that the next day, the actual anniversary, there were marches in New York, of course, but then also in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So there was, it only took a year for there to be a pretty significant coordinated effort for there to be celebrations, and those took the form of pride parades.
Yeah.
So
they started in the year 69 plus 1.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite.
Yeah. I think you like 69 plus like 3 or 4 if you get them in there.
Get them in there?
Yeah.
You can mean so many different things by that, but anyway.
Yep. You're going to pour more wine.
Yeah. It's the benefit of the video is everyone gets to see this part.
I'm out of chilada. I'm going to look right into the camera and say, time for more booze.
These are all the unofficial breaks you don't hear about on the podcast.
All right, I'm back, and I've upgraded. I'm now on PBR.
Ooh, getting fancy.
Yep. So there have been Pride celebrations ever since. Mm-hmm. Do you know why they chose the word Pride?
Because it was happy.
It was their favorite deadly sin. No,
I personally like gluttony.
Yeah.
It's a good one. But Gluttony Parade doesn't have a great ring to it.
Yeah, well, and I think I like sloth.
Oh.
I like just not doing a goddamn thing sometimes. Like when just even playing Xbox is like a lot of energy.
We may go through all 7 sins through Pride because sloth is the next morning when you wake up and you're like, nope. And then you go back to sleep.
Yeah. Although what would envy be?
Of course, when you're out and you see all those dumb hot people and you're I wish I was dumb and hot. Life would
they're
be
all
so
like
much better.
hooking up with each other, like grinding, and you're like, oh, that's really pretty.
That's nice for them.
Yeah, great.
I'm happy they're so happy and hot.
Great. Yeah, look at that 12-pack going home together. That's 2 6-packs.
I'm going home with 1 6-pack.
A PBR. So yeah, it's actually, I thought this was really interesting. It's because it was specifically chosen as the opposite of shame. That pride is the opposite of shame. If you are proud of who you are and out and visible, that is the opposite of shame. I think that's really cool.
And shame is what so many of us are forced to experience growing up. So it makes sense that like let's celebrate, let's put into people the opposite, which is pride.
It's also put into people some other things.
It's really hard for me to say that. Like I was in the middle of that sentence and I knew what I had done to myself. So
yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I agree. I support that. You're right.
Okay, so, real quick, when was your first Pride? So, and we really should be careful to make the distinction. There's Pride, the concept, and we celebrate that in the United States in June, specifically because of Stonewall happening in June.
Yep.
But don't confuse that with Pride parades, which happen all throughout June and are, that's an occasion as opposed to just a concept.
Sure. And there's also a LGBT History Month, which takes place in October. So that's a completely different concept. So,
did they choose that because of Halloween?
I doubt that's related. I mean, at this point, every month is taken. No, I think that it was chosen to coincide with Coming Out Day, which was already like National Coming Out Day was like October something or other.
Maybe,
I don't know.
If it's the 5th, I'm like fucking Rain Man. I don't know.
Corrections for next week will be the actual day of this.
Well, and like I do this thing where I just something pops into my brain and it fucking comes out of my mouth, and then like maybe 75% of the time it's right. It ends up being right, and I have no idea why.
It's mostly right, which is why you're good to play trivia with.
That's true. When was your first Pride Parade?
It was the first year I moved to Seattle. I planned I'd never been to a Pride Parade, but I planned the float for the LGBT organization that I was in. I became the membership director, and me and my co-director planned our Pride float. And it was surprising. Like, you would think for a big organization, they would give you, you'd have buckets of money. We had to plan it on shoestring budget, and, we're begging some of the marketing departments of different organizations to give us money to plan it. But yeah, that was my first one.
And what did you do? What was, maybe we're going to beep, maybe we won't. I bet we're going to, just to keep the tradition up. So
we're just adding to the list of shit I gotta bleep.
Yeah. You bleep that track.
Bleep it hard.
But what did you end up doing? Like, what is a typical corporate expression that happens at Pride once you get it organized?
So we planned a month full of activities because it is Pride Month. So we had lots of things going on, but then the culmination was Pride. We had T-shirts, and everyone came out, and we had a float that was mediocre, because that is not the kind of gay I am, is float decorating gay. We gave everyone like candy and beads and stuff to throw out to the people. So like we walked down and everyone tossed out, candy and beads to the audience. And then we were, kind of off the hook and could be free. Although during the course, like, what did I do? Drank straight vodka.
Yep.
Like, I just, once we started walking, like Dunskies, I'm pretty much done with my planning duty. So I literally brought a Nalgene bottle filled with just vodka, and then got the courage to dance on the side of our float. And then we went to Pride Fest, which is in the Seattle Center, like where the Space Needle is and where the fountain is, and you watch all the gays and dancing in the fountain, and there's like concerts and stuff.
It gets real naked sometimes.
Gets pretty, like, practically 100% naked in the fountain. And then later that night, you go to one of the after parties where you wait in line for hours and hours. And then if you get in, they've it's block party, and that's where all the, shirtless gays are that you hate but keep looking at.
Yeah.
And it's on a Sunday, which seems like why? Just why?
So I think the why is because, again, Stonewall happened on a Saturday. The first big block of Pride parades, marches, whatever, happened on Sunday, the actual anniversary, and then from then on it became the last Sunday in June.
That makes sense.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the things that you see at Pride. My first Pride experience was the first year after I came out. So I went in June of 2009, and it was eye-opening. How about that?
In what way?
I just had never experienced so many different kinds of gay before. Like, so the Seattle Pride Parade usually is opened by the Dykes on Bikes, and it's just these super butch lesbians wearing leather, riding around on motorcycles in formation. And for that to be my very first thing that I ever saw on my very first Pride Parade, it sort of set the tone. Like, I had no idea. First of all, they're calling themselves dykes. Do they know that that's a word to not use, maybe? And then that they were all leathered up, and I was really surprised by that. And it kept going from there. Like, there's a float for like every gay bar here in town, and inevitably, because they're a gay bar, it's just this horde of shirtless go-go-esque boys writhing on this truck as it goes by.
You'll see drag queens with boas and ladies with pasties on their nips, and barely clothed people, but also more corporate. Like, we were the more corporate, group, because we're all wearing all of our clothes, and some families go in Seattle because we're pretty progressive, and there's a huge array of people.
It's pretty nuts. There is, you just mentioned many of them. There's like every color of the queer rainbow is present there. And little old sheltered Mikey Johnson, like, no idea that there was that much diversity within what was already a diverse group.
Gay's pretty gay, but it gets even gayer.
Right. That being said, not everybody is on board with Pride. Pride parades specifically. I mean, Pride, the concept, I think that there's quite a few people that are against it, but they're more fringy. Like the mainstream of America, at least in 2017 here, seems to be on board with the idea of there being a month for gay people, and they put up with or are excited by and support things like Google changing their letters on their homepage to be a rainbow, and Target has gay stuff, and
although, can we, this is going to be another one where it's hard to separate out the politics from it. Can we call it a fringe group when it's the president of the U.S.?
It's a great question. I think,
maybe I should explain what I'm talking about. Or do you want to explain it?
Well, I mean, the GOP, the Republican Party, still today in their platform of official policies are against gay marriage.
Right.
We believe that marriage is an institution between one man and one woman and is the foundation of our society, blah, blah, blah.
Which is, like, one of the challenges I have, and, I've said before, I don't want to talk about politics because I want people that identify as Republicans to be able to listen to this and identify with things or disagree with things we say and email them to us. And I want to hear, I want to be able to discuss the diversity of the gay and queer umbrella.
Yeah.
However, to me, it's really hard to look at the Republican platform and not, like, Republicans haven't accepted us. Why could we accept them?
Yeah. And one thing that I'm really torn about, I know a lot of really decent, wonderful people that are important to me who are Republicans. They will say they are Republicans. And I think of those, there's a certain number of them that are in denial or are just naively unaware of the fact that the Republican Party is officially against our right to be married.
Right.
So when you bring that to their attention, they're really kind of surprised. Like, oh, yeah, I had no idea, and they're taken aback by that. So I don't think. You know me, I'm super partisan. I will lay out just a string of horrible, just curse words,
capital lettered.
Yeah. Both in speech and in writing. I don't think this is necessarily a super political partisan issue to just say that is one thing that one of the major parties in this country still officially stands for. If you vote for them for other reasons, great. But you need to know that part of what you're voting for officially in writing in their platform is that they are against gay marriage.
Completely agree. And also, every year Barack Obama was president, he officially declared June as Pride Month.
Yeah.
And surprisingly absent from the list of what things this month was Pride Month.
Even Clinton had a LGBT month. I forget exactly what he called it. It wasn't Gay Pride Month. It was Gay and Lesbian Awareness Month or whatever it was, but there was an officialness to it. And it's funny, he was the first one, to my knowledge. Since then, right down the line, partisan, all of the Democrats say something in June to recognize what's going on. None of the Republicans have. Yeah. Which I think at its core represents this sort of stronghold that Republicans have on religious people. Religious people vote Republican. That's overwhelmingly true. And organized religion still really is the source of so much anti-gay rhetoric and sentiment. And I think that's where it all comes from, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, that was a good one.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah. So, I feel like we should talk more about the pros. I have lots of cons, even from gay people, about pride parades.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the pros.
Yeah.
Like what's good about pride parades?
I mean, just what you mentioned, like we grow up feeling such shame for who we are to find a place where people are not only saying it's okay to be gay, but it's great to be gay and have that be celebrated.
Yeah.
It can be the complete opposite of what you've known.
Yeah.
So it's, it can be a friendly, welcoming environment that affirms who you are. It's, the diversity that you talked about, like even when you are gay or lesbian or bi, seeing trans people and, intersex and asexual and all these other things represented, then it can bring awareness to even gay and lesbian people about the diversity within,
Our
the
community.
queer umbrella.
Yeah.
Originally, helped show support for gay rights issues. And I think that's really important. Like letting people know that gay rights are important, and here are all these people that you can visibly see because there are pictures of people marching. So you don't always see gay people. So to see, hundreds of thousands of people marching says that there are actually way more people than I expected. So it can also show people the gay community.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else? You get to drink a fuck ton. That's awesome.
Clothing is optional, so you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Getting ready for that.
Yeah. No. How much does glitter cost? Because it's like that's your biggest expense.
God, I'm not joking. This is going to sound like I'm joking, but I am not joking. 1 year after Pride, I kept finding glitter fucking everywhere. It was in my shower. It was in my clothes. My underwear drawer ended up with a bunch of glitter in it. It was ridiculous. You assholes, leave your glitter at home. Or pick glitter that has bigger chunks.
That happened to me on Halloween, but only because I went as Gay Jesus.
Wait, connect the dots for me here. How is dressing up like Gay Jesus, how does that justify glitterness? Like, did you put glitter on yourself?
Yeah. I feel like you answered your own question by how you act. Like,
no, I thought people were throwing glitter at you because you were Gay
my
Jesus.
God. Like, welcome Gay Jesus, like rice for married people. No. I thought Gay Jesus would be covered in glitter.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Also, crown of thorns can be hot. Brushing past that into something else.
I love me some stigmata. Okay, so it's interesting that on the pro side, Dan Savage has this quote, and that's from 2015. And I mentioned that because he actually had some stuff to say on the con side also, but a lot of that is older. For people who don't know, actually, Dan Savage is, at least in Seattle, a major gay icon. He and his partner live here. They have a son. They are really active in the community. And then he also is a national media figure for, he does his Savage Love podcast. He's a writer for The Stranger, which is a local alternative newspaper here.
Mm-hmm. I know he was on the Colbert Report once, so like on nationally recognized media.
Yeah. Was he ever on Ellen? We should find out, because that's when you know you've made it.
Colbert? That's close.
When he was on Comedy Central, that's kind of like
It's pretty good. It's not too shabby.
I mean, it wasn't The Daily Show, unless he was on that too.
Burn.
Yeah.
Take that, Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
Burned by this really famous podcast. Yeah. You'll never recover.
Oh, did I mention that we're sponsored by Jimmy Fallon and The Tonight Show?
Which is why I laugh so much.
Right.
Because I try to get in the spirit of Jimmy Fallon.
So Dan Savage had this quote: "Pride is in many ways a manifestation of queer people in the streets, making themselves visible not just to each other, but to straight people, straight culture, and a straight world that for most of recorded history wanted to pretend that we did not exist."
I mean, Dan and I pretty much said the same thing. I was equally as eloquent when I said that before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, you took a lot longer to get there. It was a slow burn.
No, that was the way better way of saying what I was trying to say.
You're on antidepressants, so it takes like 10 minutes to come instead of like, just a minute and a half.
It's funny because it's true.
I know, right?
Which many a man has thanked me for.
Is that true?
No, that's the lie part. Okay, keep.
Okay. All right. Well done.
There's so much to see on After Balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. I want to read this too. I don't know how it fits in, but I think it's funny and it's on this piece of paper, which I'm going to move on from.
Okay.
On the Savage Lovecast, Dan Savage, a straight listener called in with a question for him about the etiquette for straight people that are visiting Pride. Have we talked about that on here? I feel like we did.
You mentioned an article that had like the 6 things.
Yes. You cut all of that, though.
No, not all of it. You went into more detail. You were blabbity blabbing. It's like, like you do.
Talking on the podcast.
But so we talked about it a little
bit. His response was, well, don't eat the pussy at Pride. It's not for you. Unless it's my pussy, in which case go nuts.
Oh.
Great.
Look but don't touch, I think is what he's saying.
Yes. I mean, unless it's a bi person, in which case,
touch with permission.
They're in our
umbrella
letter group. Yeah.
We found the gateway to straight people participating in Pride. It's through the bis.
Through the bis. Yeah.
They've held the key all this time.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They could be the glue to many a three-way. They're the creamy filling in a straight sex sandwich.
A drunk Kyle could also be the glue to many a three-way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get enough rosé in me and who knows who I'm into.
Yeah.
Or
3 or more. Why not? So I apologize to our Afterballs folks, but I have to pee right now.
Should we take an official break?
No. There's more. We haven't even gotten to the cons yet.
Oh, okay. Unofficial break.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Afterballs.
You gonna talk about this?
Yeah, before I'm gonna talk about this for Afterballs radio only. I don't know the Afterballs. I thought Doug said that was like already a thing, so I was like, I don't know if we can actually call this Afterballs. So I typed it in. And I'm such a horrible person for laughing. Like I'm sorry that I'm laughing at this. Is horrible. Like
Kyle,
but
this is a safe space.
No, it's not. Because
your evil dark humor is
okay.
Good with me.
The headline of the article that I found: "Man kills best friend." Sorry, I couldn't. Okay,
This is why I love
at
you.
least reinforce, like, I really feel better that I'm like a better person than you, because that's not where I started laughing.
Oh, I thought that was the funny part. Okay, go ahead.
Man kills best friend after their balls touch in a threesome with stripper.
Great.
So, I don't know.
Doug talked about that.
He did?
You said that you watch three-way porn sometimes, and
he was worried about the logistics of three-ways.
Yeah, but you said that you like it when their balls touch.
You just any like accidental or even like intentional indication that like the dude's like, yeah. So I don't know if that answers the question of if we can actually call it after balls, but that's what I just started giggling to myself when I. Anyway, we're unofficially back.
We could call it Gayish Raw.
Oh. Raw and deep.
Yeah.
Raw and uncut.
Gayish Raw Doggin. Bareback Gayish.
Get out your prep.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be raw.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so there are some issues with Pride, and I think it's really interesting. So there's the we've kind of talked about already the religious community for, because Jesus are anti-gay.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican Party, anti-gay. There's surprisingly quite a few people in the gay community that have issues with Pride parades. So first, my own personal thoughts. Like the many of the Pride parades that I've been to, there are families there that have their kids and they bring them, and not for the spectacle of it. There's even gay families with their kids that come,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think that a dude wearing a 6-foot penis costume handing out condoms is something for a 6-year-old.
So I mentioned that families come to the Seattle one, but there's the families that intentionally go and know what they're getting into and want their kids to be exposed to all these things, which, they're whatever parenting style works for you. Like, that's awesome if that's, if you can make that choice and let your child, I don't know. I don't have a kid, so I don't fucking know how to parent. But there are other families, like if we talked about one of the pros being straight people see us and, see how out we are. Sometimes that, like, even just walking, if you walk with your family down the street, this takes place in downtown Seattle, you may see some weird shit you're not ready for, and associating that with gay or queer people, is that what we want them to see about us?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
not saying we don't, like, it's important. I think we're way too sexually repressed in this country. So, like, yeah, but I don't know. But is a dude wearing a leather harness and, whipping some guy with assless chaps, is that what we want to associate with the gay community? I honestly don't know.
I'll associate the fuck out of that myself. That's not true. I'm not into that, but I'll pretend that I am for a joke.
Yeah.
And that 6-year-old, even though I have misgivings about it, they will likely grow up pretty fucking open-minded.
Yeah, so that's where, like, that's awesome if you can bring your child there and explain what this is and why it's important and all that good stuff. Yeah, so I'm not, I'm conflicted.
So there is an organization called Gay Shame. And they are named specifically because they are anti-pride, not because they think that we should be ashamed. But they think that there is an undue emphasis on sex and fetish-related interests, and they think that's counterproductive to our interests. This goes back to the, will having straight people seeing us this way hinder our progress, right?
Sure.
Like, Stonewall, they're going to see a bunch of gays doing the can and beating up cops. Is that ultimately going to help further our rights or not? And they've come to the conclusion that pride is far more harm than good because of these unwholesome images in their mind.
Like the Stonewall, I feel like now, again, I don't. I think if I were in the moment, I'd be conflicted about it. But now looking back, I can see how important and good Stonewall was. But that's because gays it's not that there were all these views of gays and this was one of them. It was no one ever saw gay people, so they were finally out literally in the streets.
Yeah.
And then at what point do you get to kind of taper that back, because now there is not great but more fair media representation or other views of gay people, or people see it more? You know, at what point can you scale those kind of outbursts, or, you know, outbursts, that sounds like such a petty way to describe it, but, you know, like a way to, I don't know.
Well, there are a lot of people that go to pride parades and march in it that seem to have this almost going out of their way to be, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want, and you can't fucking say anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of sort of questionable behavior, images, outfits, like, two dudes should not, like, be in a red wagon blowing each other in public in the parade. I'm taking it to the extreme on purpose, but like, but they would say, whatever, it's love, it's awesome, fuck you, don't try to box me in. There's this, we've been boxed in so many other ways, like, at least on this one day, no holds barred. Yeah.
I mean, even myself, like, I told you I brought a Nalgene bottle full of vodka. Like,
you brought one here.
That is a lie. No, but like, that is not something I do all the time. I drink a bunch, like, we know that, but like, I would not go out into the street, bring a Nalgene bottle full of vodka and dance on the side of a car on a normal day.
I don't know what you do. You're unemployed now. Maybe that's just your thing.
You think before we hang out every day, I'm just like drinking and dancing?
It would explain a lot.
That sounds way better than like I slept in and then watched everything on Netflix twice.
Right. So I don't know if we'll get in trouble for this, but I want to read some of this. Do you know The Onion?
Yes.
Yeah, The Onion is actually a physical newspaper. It's done in the upper Midwest, Wisconsin area. I think it comes out of Madison. But it is fake news. Actually fake news. Like
satire.
Yeah, satire. Nobody thinks this is real news. I just want to be clear. Once again, this is not real news. This is fake news.
Much like several of the things we said earlier in this episode.
It says, West Hollywood, California. The mainstream acceptance of gays and lesbians, a hard-won civil rights victory gained through decades of struggle against prejudice and discrimination, was set back at least 50 years Saturday in the wake of the annual Los Angeles Gay Pride Parade. Quote, I'd always thought gays were regular people just like you and me, and that the stereotype of homosexuals as hedonistic, sex-crazed deviants was just a destructive myth, said mother of four, Hannah Jarrett, 41, mortified at the sight of 17 tanned and oiled boys cavorting in jockstraps to a throbbing techno beat on a float shaped like an enormous phallus. Quote, boy, oh boy, was I wrong. The parade, organized by the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian and Bisexual and Transvestite and Transgender Alliance, La Gala Batata, was intended to promote acceptance, tolerance, and equality for the city's gay community. Just the opposite, however, was accomplished as the event confirmed the worst fears of thousands of non-gay spectators, cementing in their minds a debauched and distorted image of gay life straight out of the most virulent right-wing hate literature. It's just, it's funny because it's true, right?
Yeah,
and like when Pride is happening, I think that a lot of what they're touching on satirically is part of my insecurity.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's mixed. Like, I don't feel decisively that it's bad, because part of me says, yes, we get to revolt against everything we've been put through, and we get to be ourselves and be out, and this is our day and all that stuff. But then on the other hand, yeah, same thing. It's like, but that's, you know, yeah, just what do I want people to think about gay people in general? And this is where, like, if you think back about Stonewall, that's where we're almost more falling on the side of the, like, the anti-Stonewall people. So that's part of where this conflict comes from, because I recognize that we don't have full equal rights. It's not that we've done it and great, we're an equal part of society now. So,
Right.
so we still have work to do. But my question is then, like, what is that work, and how do we, is what Pride is right now the way we get there?
Yep, absolutely. The last paragraph of this same story is, quote, "I knew it. I said we needed 100 dancers on the Show Us Your Ass float, but everybody insisted that 50 would be enough," said Lady Labia, spokesperson for La Gala Batata. "Next year, we're really going to give those breeders something to look at."
Also, should we say breeder is a term that gay people use to describe straight people, because they are baby factories.
Just popping them out.
Yep.
One screaming, slimy, bloody, turning garbage into poop monster at a time. I love children. They taste wonderful.
I don't like this.
Okay, that was W.C. Fields, actually. That was his, he said that way back in the day.
Yeah, I definitely know who that is. That's good. That's good.
Just that thing where you say, "I definitely know what that is," and you take a drink of your rosé thinking that I'm not going to question that you actually know what it is.
Yes.
Okay, great. More on the con side, but a different sort of slant is that we have become advertising for corporate interests. That the monetization of Pride, that Bud fucking Light has a neon sign that you can buy that's a rainbow that says "Drink Bud Light," shows that we have totally lost touch with the reason for Pride, that we are being used, that we are being co-opted. What's the word? We're prostituting ourselves.
Also, corporations sponsor us.
Right. The Pride parades are just a money shot, and it's a money shot for corporations.
Yeah, no. And this is something I saw too, and I wanted to bring up. So, do you remember last year when American Airlines was told that they were allowed to march in the Pride Parade, but they were not allowed to wear any logos or emblems or display anything about American Airlines because Delta had purchased a sponsorship.
Interesting.
So, Delta. Oh, sorry. Alaska Airlines were told they couldn't wear their logos because Delta sponsored the event, and they were told that as a sponsor, Delta got exclusive rights to be the only airlines that sponsored the event.
What?
That was later retracted, and the president of the board that plans Pride resigned over it. You're welcome, Afterballs, if you heard my dog sneezing.
Great. That's fucked up.
Yeah. So at the time, I remember this news report came out, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? You can't tell a group that they can't participate and show their company because of sponsorship." And then later they were like, "You're right. The president misunderstood what the sponsorship entailed." So they ended up doing the right thing, letting them, march. The president resigned. But part of me wonders, was that, did they just make this guy take the fall for it? That's just me making up a conspiracy. I don't know that for sure. But yeah, it's that is just a signal that was even an issue, that was even brought up at any point.
Yeah.
Corporations have absolutely infiltrated Pride.
Yeah.
I looked at the Seattle Pride calendar, actually, because, I read about the commercialization of Pride.
Is there a Mr. March?
What's that?
I just imagine it being a calendar of a bunch of gays, and that March is just like the hottest dude ever.
Is March the hottest dude of every calendar of hot dudes.
I think so.
Probably.
And I think it makes sense because, you know, when you sell a calendar, somebody's going to flip through them all. And like, strategically, I would put the hottest one at March.
Oh, that's true. So it's like, it's like still a little chilly, so his nips are hard.
Yeah.
Great. No, so on the events, like, you go to seattlepride.org.
Orgy.
It's just like last night. I opened myself up to that. Okay.
Not grabhim.org.
So the first image that they have on their rotating slide is like, volunteer and come join us and blah, blah, blah. The second image is Uber. It's like literally an ad for Uber. It's like Uber and drag queens, and you click on it, and it's like when you click on it, it's just an ad for Uber.
Yeah, great. When all like they're just in shambles right now because of sexual harassment.
So they clearly need to sponsor gay shit because they're like, let us climb back up the ranks of the liberal. So that's the second thing they're advertising there. And then I went to the actual events calendar and I was looking around, and then, you know, there's a mixture of events. Some are like, you know, queer, you know, artifacts from history, trans artists show their work, or trans artifacts that, you know, show 50 years of trans, you know, history, all this, or herstory. So there are some cool cultural and artistic events.
Can I just have to throw this out real quick? We might get kicked off the air for this. I'm not sure. I think that there is nothing more stupid, idiotic, nonsensical, and it fucking pisses me off than herstory.
I completely disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Because words came from somewhere. There is an etymology to them. And history doesn't start with the word his because it has anything to do with men or masculinity. It's totally unrelated. So you've co-opted a poor innocent word that has nothing to do with what you're trying to make it about and just morphing it for no fucking reason. It pisses me off.
I completely disagree with you because as someone who is really interested in language and grammar and how it evolves, I think the origins of language are important, but also how current usage, you know, where it's going is really important. And I think even if history did not have anything to do with his as the first thing, by changing that word to herstory, it is making a point that the language we use is male-centric. Like, that word is not the example, but other words we use, manhood, humanity, you know, when we talk in work, you always hear people say, like, how many man hours will this take? Like, we are a male-centric language. Yeah. When you refer to a group of even women, you say, hey, you guys. So we're male-centric. So if we are using this word that has nothing to do with his, but pointing out to people how men and masculinity and the patriarchy has influenced language, I think that's a good thing. So I like it.
Well, fuck you.
Fuck you, you just got pwned! This is the second time I've flipped you off in this episode. Sorry.
No, I didn't even know that you did it the first time because it doesn't even register anymore.
Just like when you say, fucking Kyle, like I just
fucking Kyle. I think then choose a fucking word that actually is misogynistic.
I think it's like Home Skillet who... I can't say that. I think it's like Colin Kaepernick who kneeled during the national anthem.
Yeah.
He's not saying, I don't like the national... He's not protesting the national anthem. He's making a point in a public way. And it got a lot of people talking about Black Lives Matter, which is an important topic. I think in the same way, people choosing this word and turning into her... You're right, the etymology is not correct, but it is a way to make a point about an issue.
I think it trivializes the struggle by potentially inflaming a really common word into a controversial topic. That is this really about that word? No. Well, maybe make your maybe make your point in a way that doesn't make it seem like that's what you care about.
Yeah, Mike.
That's fine. We can move on.
No, so I disapprove of what you say.
Yeah.
But I will defend to the death your right to carry 5 grams of cocaine.
That's good.
Yeah.
How about more than that? Hypothetically, if I had 10 grams on me right now.
Hypothetically, if I had 11 and a half grams of cocaine.
Oh, I thought you were going to say inches.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, just 11 grams of cocaine.
Great.
Okay. All that was cut for the regular podcast. So those were some of they're great events that showed our culture and history and important things in the Seattle Pride calendar. But then there was also like, come celebrate the launch of Her, the app for lesbian women to date each other. Come celebrate the launch of this new beer. And, every single gay club has some kind of event going on. And, it's just the fact that, like Uber was the second thing. It's just corporations are everywhere in gay pride.
Yeah. On the anniversary of the Orlando club shooting of gay people, let's celebrate that Alaska flies nonstop there.
We will sell you discounted shots of vodka. We remember.
Never forget.
Never forget.
So one last big category of people that have issues with pride is that it's not political enough. That the source of it was Stonewall. That the root of it was this very political line in the sand. We deserve more, and that it has turned into a circus or it's a carnival. It's not demanding any sort of progress.
Right.
And so there's actually a group called Critical Pride, and they are trying to start non-corporate, highly political pride marches. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I like that idea of, as I get the benefit of businesses sponsoring things because businesses give money that makes things happen, and the support of businesses, we really need that in the gay rights movement. You need the support of businesses. But when it becomes like South by Southwest, where everyone that actually likes music now fucking hates South by Southwest because it's the place to launch your new app. It's at what point has it gone beyond the original intention and now is a place to launch your brand new beer or, lesbian dating app?
I thought launching beers and apps was that's just Seattle.
Maybe.
It used to be San Francisco. And Seattle.
You think we're the only place that does that?
No.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So I agree with you. I like that. I think asking the question of what should Pride be and what is it about is something we should all do and really think about. And before doing this, I am one of those people that would go to Pride and get drunk and, party, and that's all I knew. So, it's not, I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of people. And now after looking up a lot of this, talking to you, I want to make it about more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I'll bring it around then. Speaking of making it more than about that, this is a little sappy, and I'm sorry. And I think that Gayish is amazing. That we are being visible, and we're educating, and we're trying to change hearts and minds, and we're doing it in our own way. And I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you.
Oh.
And thank you for doing this with me.
You're okay.
Man. Remember me when you go solo.
So can I then tell you about some of the things that I think Pride could and maybe even should be about?
Nope, we're out of time. No, yeah, of course, go for it.
Close the curtains. We're done. So I think, there's in the U.S. and internationally. So there are kind of two facets to it. So in the U.S., I think there are so many rights that people don't realize that we still don't have.
Yeah.
The right to work in the workplace and not get fired because of being gay.
In case you didn't know this, straight people, there are many...
And gay people.
And gay people, in case you didn't know this. There are many, many jurisdictions in this country that your boss can come in, say, you're gay, you're fired. And that's perfectly legal.
Yep. And similar with housing.
Yep.
And I should have started with, like, the biggest one I think right now is trans rights. Like, that's such a huge thing that everyone in the LGBT plus umbrella needs to be supportive of and get on board with. And another, so I feel like those are some of the more common rights that people are like, okay, yep, we need to keep fighting for that. I didn't realize that in all but California, it is legal to kill someone because of your reaction to them being gay or trans, and it's called gay panic defense or trans panic defense. So if you're hooking up with someone and you find out they're trans and that scares you, you are so, I don't know, ashamed, afraid, whatever, taken aback by that you kill them, you can use the trans panic defense and may get off with murder.
Wow.
California is the only place that's not legal, and Illinois is about to become the second place that's expected to be signed into law. But those are gay panic defense, trans panic defense, still on the books in all the other states.
That hurts my soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it down, Kyle.
It wouldn't be gayish if we didn't depress you just a little bit.
You're welcome.
And then I think internationally is a big area where, we can keep focusing on. There are 9 countries where it's still legal to be put to death because of being gay. There are over 70 countries where it's punishable by law, being gay. And something I would recommend that I got, I think, halfway through, but then had to come here to record, is the documentary called Beyond Gay, The Politics of Pride. Is this award-winning documentary that shows someone who plans the Vancouver Pride Festival going to all of these different places where it's not like, yay, we're celebrating, this is fun. It's like, it's still... they have to do it in secret. They walk a block because they may get arrested or attacked because of it. And it was made in 2011, but I would still really recommend it. It's really eye-opening and reminds you, for us that celebrate and just, like me, get fucking drunk and try to fuck. Like, this...
Did we put that on the pro side of Pride? I think
it's the pro and con. Some dude accidentally got too drunk and had to fuck me. So, like, that's the con side of it.
It's the price you pay, Kyle, for visibility.
Sorry, Stephen. But that actually showed, like, there is still, politics behind this event and still people fighting for their legal right to be considered equal human beings in the most basic sense of I get to live
or to exist, right. Much less be equal.
Right.
Great. I'm so happy.
do we need to end on a more positive note? Also, I'm STD free.
Hooray!
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to take an official break.
Yeah, why don't we take a break, and then we'll end on some happy, gayest, and straightest things.
Yeah, great. Okay, we're gonna take a break.
All right, let's take a break.
Let's take a break. I have to be last.
Let's take a break.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Fucking Kyle.
Fucking Kyle. Oh, God.
back.
We're back.
Hello.
Hello.
So we're going to do our Gayish and Straightest.
Yes, but first, our website is gayishpodcast.com.
And maybe we'll post some of the shit that we talked about on there for
We've
people
been
to
saying
see.
that we're going to, but we haven't been. Like, I still have pictures of Halloween with the ogre dick, and I haven't put that up yet.
Oh, I posted a how-to from our friend Carly on how to make an ogre dick.
Yeah.
So that's on the website.
Oh, okay. But, I mean, there's pictures. Like, anyway, yeah, great.
Yeah. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/gayish podcast. So join us to get updates on the latest episodes and behind the scenes content. And one of us is going to post our dick to it.
Who's it going to be?
No.
We're also on Twitter at Gayish Podcast. And the cast is also available on iTunes and on Google Play.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and we want to hear from you. Please write us anything, questions. We're going to do a question show eventually. So even if we don't get to it immediately, send us your questions, your thoughts, your feedback at gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we've gotten some really nice comments, so we really appreciate the people that send us those nice comments. Those give us the courage to keep going.
We've also gotten a number of things advertising, and my penis is going to be 3 inches bigger because I clicked one of the links and they're going to send me pills.
Yeah, great. And I've gotten so much XXX. You won't believe what she takes porn. So, good things all around.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So our gayest and straightest.
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Okay.
Great. You seem excited.
Great. So I feel like there's a pattern forming where I think that my straightest thing of the week has several times just been the grossest thing of the week, which maybe that's because in my head straight guys are frat guys and I see how frat guys live because I still volunteer for the fraternity and they're fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and just continue that.
I thought you were like, we need to change that up and change. Nope, I'm going to keep going with that.
Yep. Next week, maybe. But I was I was cleaning out my Jeep a couple of days ago, and this is so disgusting.
Oh no!
I found a McDonald's French fry, and I fucking ate it.
Oh no, Mike! Why? Why would you do that?
That's the straightest thing, because it's just disgusting. I also did that when I was a kid, but I was like, oh, look at that, chomp.
Well, did it hold up?
Yeah,
because it's not real, so it doesn't.
Well, yeah. Like, do you remember that thing about that guy who put a cheeseburger in the pocket of his coat and hung it up at his house, and he didn't realize it, and like 4 years later he looks in the pocket of his coat and there's like this cheeseburger and it looks like a cheeseburger still. There's no mold.
Oh no.
It's just like the pickles are desiccated and the patty is kind of shriveled a little bit, and the bun isn't quite as spongy, but like it still looks edible.
I did not see that. That's disgusting.
I'll see if I can find a link to that, and I'll put it up on the site.
I mean, we're probably good. You don't. That's okay.
My gayest thing this week actually was that. Oh yeah. After we were on the X-rated movies, I came home and one night I watched Kaboom.
Oh.
And as Matt predicted, my penis went kaboom.
Was it good? Did you like it?
Oh. Every dude is hot, and he's right. It's about a gay guy who wants to bang his roommate.
Oh.
His roommate's name is Thor, and he's a blonde, like long-haired surfer guy, and he's jacked and is never wearing a shirt. It's pretty great.
Is it like trashy gay cinema? That reminds me of just so many just dumb gay movies that I see.
Yeah. No, it's I'd say it's a step above your normal trashy gay cinema. Like in the hierarchy of things, if it's like big budget film, made for TV movie, gay cinema, and then porn, it's somewhere in between, tiers 2 and 3.
Okay, great.
So how about you?
So my gayest thing is I sit down to pee.
Even when you don't have to?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I feel the objective, like when you're at home alone, you've got time, there's no one there, you're just casually need to take a leak. Sitting down is the more realistic, this is going to be cleaner. It's going to be more comfortable. I can browse my phone while I'm doing it. It just makes more sense.
Yeah.
The only reason more people don't do it is because it's kind of gay.
Yeah. Well, and you've illustrated all of the reasons why I wear Depends.
I'm going right now.
I'm going right now. Great.
My straightest thing is I did not watch the Tony Awards. Your straightest thing, did you know it was on?
I watched them.
Oh, you did?
I went to a gay bar and I watched them with Chris.
Oh,
and
that's your gayest thing. No?
I mean,
that's pretty gay.
I mean, masturbating to a movie that gays recommended is pretty gay.
Okay, all right, that's fair. So I
at the Tonys, if you haven't heard or don't know, Bette Midler won this award, and you know how they do that thing when they're giving their speech and then they bring the music up?
Yeah, to play them off.
She said, quote, "Shut that crap off," and they did. They're like, what the fuck are we gonna, like, what happens when an immovable what happens when a powerful force meets an immovable object? It happened. Bette Midler won. She like shouted the orchestra down and then like kept going on and finished her speech. But I realized that that's because it's Bette fucking Midler. You can't get her.
Who thought to play Bette Midler off? I feel like I'm not necessarily of her generation, and maybe that's the straightest thing about me, but like, I at least know, let her speak. She has earned it. Like,
I'm guessing some producer was straight. They made a mistake.
They didn't get it. They didn't get what just happened.
Yeah.
I had to look up, this is part of the straightest thing. Like, I had to look up to just confirm that the Tonys were actually on before I said this. And I saw something about Kevin Spacey kind of came out. Did he?
So Kevin Spacey was the host, and my favorite thing about that, actually, people have said that his impressions weren't that great, but I think he's an amazing impressionist. So he did a Bill Clinton, and then he came out as Frank Underwood from House of Cards. Robin Wright showed up as a cameo just to be on his arm while he did it.
That's awesome.
And I thought it was hilarious. I think let's find the clip or the transcript and post it, and people can weigh in. I don't think it was quite as big of a deal as it's being made of on the internet.
You don't think he came out?
His fluidity, I don't think makes a ton of sense. But
did he do what Silence of the Lamb chick did? What's her name? Fuck.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah, did he Jodie Foster it?
Yeah.
Kind of come out, but not really. But
right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to. Let's go to the clip. We can't do that because we're not a.
Let's go to the tape. Instant replay.
We're not the Daily Show.
What does the referee think? The Russian judge gives him a 10.
You're gay. Okay.
Gay on the play. 10 yards.
There's a yellow fag on the play.
That's racist.
Repeat fourth down. This is is a good sign that it's the end of the episode. All right.
Yeah. So this has been Gayish.
This has been Gayish.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And until next week,
be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week.
See ya.
So to all of you out there in afterballs, Kyle is the worst.